Brad, earlier you and Tom did a open the box for the new Bosch NDM 7702A 12 megapixel multi-imager camera and the NDM 7703A 20 megapixel multi-imager camera. While you guys were doing that, I had kind of got a different box and pulled one out of the box, and I found a lot of really neat things in the box, much to my surprise. And I think it would be a good idea if we kind of went through them one by one, back and forth, and kind of covered the things that I found that I think people are going to be really interested in, that were new and unique and great features for the product.
Yeah, Steve, I think actually getting under the hood of this camera versus just a standard unboxing is important, because we can actually point out the key differentiators of what this camera has to offer and its ease of use for install for the integrators.
Cool. First thing you find when you open the box is this stamped steel metal mounting plate. One of the really cool things that stood out to me right away was the ABCDE marking on here, and that corresponded to the markings on all these holes. Those are simply, the A is for a 4-square electrical box, the B is for a standard box, C is for a double gang box, and D, these slots are for a single gang box. I thought that was very interesting, and I think that helps people line up with standardized electrical boxes when they're working at a job site. The other thing I thought was kind of neat and interesting was that the hole is already punched for you. You don't have to worry about breaking a set plug out or anything like that to get your cable passed through. One of the other neat things that were there were the conduit connector cutout. So there's an optional conduit connector, a surface mount conduit connector, that allows you to clip that right in here and connect a piece of conduit directly to the camera before you attach the camera base plate to the device.
And Steve, what are these clips on the sides here?
Yeah, those are actually pretty cool too. These plastic clips on the base plate allow you to mount the actual camera base plate to the mounting plate, and they hold the camera. They're kind of spring-loaded plastic. They hold the camera in place so that, you know, that magical dance you do when you're on the ladder or on the lift and try to have an extra hand, you don't have to worry about that. So they hold the camera base plate onto the mounting plate while you attach the or while you're taking care of tightening up the hardware that holds the base plate to the mounting plate.
Oh, that's real beneficial. So another thing here which is really nice is this camera housing is aluminum, is cast aluminum, so it adds to your IK10 rating capability of the camera. In addition to that, there's also your safety tether, your tether here, which there is a connection here on the base plate that you would make that to, preventing the camera from falling while you're getting it hooked up while you're on the ladder.
Again, to keep you from having that third arm when you're up on the ladder.
Yeah, exactly. So all the hardware on this camera is all center pin Torx head with a supplied tool that comes with it for everything from the bubble, any of these screws on here are all going to be center pin Torx head. Kind of jumping into some of the onboard connectors here, we have a USB-C connection that you'll notice. And what that's for is we can actually connect in a Bosch wireless setup dongle that we offer, and that kind of gives you the remote commissioning capability for assigning IP, stuff like that. There's also a micro SD card slot on board for your micro SD, edge storage. And then there's also a onboard reset button. So what that'll do, you hold that for 10 seconds, it'll completely default the camera back to defaults.
That's nice, easily accessible. Everything's right there for when you take the bubble off. Some other cool things about this piece, these removable connectors. So there is an option for this camera to have a 24 volt AC input, power input, as we'll call it a backup or a redundant power capability. So the camera is PoE plus operated, and again, some customers, if you maybe have a 24 volt feed there where you're replacing an older camera, or you just want to have that redundant capability, that's really nice because there's a pull-off connector that you can put on before you try to put the wire into the connector. There's also a connector that's here for contact closure inputs and outputs, as well as for a microphone input and a speaker output, so two-way audio capability with that connector as well. One of the other cool things, which is carrying over from some of the other camera designs, is both the mounting plate as well as the bubble. Both have a red arrow that allow you to simply quickly mate those two together so that, again, while you're up on the ladder, you're not fumbling with it and going with things like that. Combination of the three pieces allows you to have a couple of different, I think, important ratings for the camera. IP66 so that you can operate the camera indoor or outdoor and, you know, without having to worry about the device getting any kind of water or anything like that in it, as well as IK10 rating, which makes it really nice, as you mentioned, with the cast aluminum base and the cast metal ring and the IK10 rated bubble, so that it can take some significant abuse without having somebody make access to the camera and damage the camera.
Right. There's also another cool feature on this, if you can pass me the bubble. Sure. Here. There is a built-in microphone that you'll notice here. There's a board here and a small hole on the bubble. And what that is the built-in microphone, which then, once mounted, will make connection to these 4 pins on the camera base. And what that is that's, like I said, an onboard microphone. But in addition to that, there are also connectors here, like you said, for external audio device capability. There's an audio in and audio out as well, so you can use an external mic and not use the onboard if you choose to.
Nice.
Another, I think, key feature to this camera is the fact that it has the true Bosch IVA capability built in, and that applies to all 4 camera modules, or all 4 camera imagers. So that's going to be huge, that you can independently configure each one of them and add the capabilities of Camera Trainer.
That's really nice. So the camera does have the built-in IVA chip. It's not the essential IVA or essential video analytics.
That's correct. That's the dedicated chip for intelligent video analytics.
Nice. In addition to all the things that we've gone over so far, some of the electronic or internal things, the built-in support for all the different Bosch apps that Bosch offers. One is the technicians, I'll call it the technicians tool because it's the project assistant, using the little tag right there. You can scan the devices, add them easily into the project assistant, set them up easily with that application on your mobile device or on a PC. The other thing is the remote portal, which is becoming something that a lot of people are starting to use and take advantage of, as well as the cloud-based services app that Bosch offers as well. In addition to that, the capability that the camera has to remotely set up and control the varifocal functions for each one of the 4 independent heads, as well as the focus settings for each one of the 4 heads as well. And that can be done from across the network using either a laptop or using a remote app on a portable device.
Makes it really easy for installation. So that's all great stuff, Steve, and I think an additional thing that we need to point out with this camera, and something that our customers have grown to know and trust from Bosch, is the secure element of the device, and this camera has that built in. So what I mean is the secure element hardware, which we've all known to call the TPM, or Trusted Platform Module. And what that does is it gives you that extra layer of security, right, for your device. Anything from public key infrastructures for certificates, 802.1x network authentication, checking your firmware validity to make sure that only signed Bosch firmware is applied to the device, and everything like that. All the standard cybersecurity implementation that Bosch has provided are built into this device.
That's all cool stuff, and again, standard in what we've done across the full platform. I guess really the only thing left to do is to get with the other guys, because right now at this point they're outside getting set up, and we're going to plug these 2 cameras into the network, put them up on a pole, and start testing them. So we're going to do live testing outside in a daytime application, as well as nighttime low light application. We've got our test field set up. Everybody's familiar with that from some of the other videos we've done, and we'll go get that done. So sounds like a good idea. We'll get it closed up and get outside and do some testing.
Yep, let's get it fired up.
The things that this camera also brings to the table is it's very flexible, to the point where these 4 independent heads can be adjusted in a way that, well, tell the installers what it can actually do.
Sure. So as far as installation, we installed 2 of these cameras behind us on our demo mounts. Installation was pretty easy. We used the mounting plate that comes with the camera, very similar to 8000i and other cameras that are coming out from Bosch. Multiple different holes for multiple different mounts and electrical boxes. They're all labeled very nicely.
Which helped us because we needed something a little bit different for our actual testing, and the holes lined up because of so many different patterns here. It really got us out of a jam.
Yes. So this gets mounted to your plate or box. There's a tether then you want to connect to that. That way, you know, you don't drop the camera by accident.
Gotcha.
And then it actually clips into these plastic clips, so it kind of holds it snug while you run these 4 screws in the back plate.
Okay.
Pretty nice, very easy installation.
Gotcha.
So after that, you plug, you know, your Cat 5 cable in, either high PoE, or you can run 24 volts AC to this camera.
Okay.
And then from there, then you're going to start setting up your imagers.
So now, I know you said high PoE, but this is PoE plus.
30
this
watts,
camera,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
And again, some of our cameras are standard PoE, PoE plus, or high PoE. Again, look at the data sheet or give us a call to make sure you get the right power supply or switch.
So from there, now you can start setting up your imagers. So it's 4 independent imagers that rotate around a single axis point.
Nice.
So you can set them up for 270, say on a corner of a building
Okay.
if needed. And then from there, you can actually rotate the imagers up and down. And then there are set screws. That way, if you actually need to rotate the camera itself left or right off that axis.
Okay. So positioning the camera 360 degree, that's the way it's set up, but you can do a 270, you can do 180. Each camera also has an independent lens. So 3.7 to 7.7 millimeter. So you can get a tight field of view from one imager and a wide field of view from another, or in any combination that you want. So analytic rules, viewing, control, setting up.
Scene mode.
Yeah. So you
all
can
independent.
really, again, it's like 4 independent cameras at that point. So whatever you want to do as the application or customers need, you can do it with this camera.
Very flexible camera and 1 IP address, 1
Okay.
license in most VMSs. So
Gotcha.
very, very flexible camera.
Okay, so we get this now set up, we install it, we put it. Now there's one other part that comes also with this camera, the desiccant bags.
very
And
important.
Why don't you go over what we need to do with that?
So in the box, there's a bag that has multiple silver bags with desiccant packs inside of there.
Ah.
There's even an instruction sheet that tells you how important this is. So
Okay.
we want to make sure that these are opened up and installed in correct places. That way, if you're installing a camera like today like
very humid
today is,
yep.
yeah, very humid, moisture's going to get inside, and you just want to make sure that moisture's not going to get on the, you know, on the lens, on the dome.
Yep.
And then, you know, it's a headache later on coming back out to open up the dome, put these desiccant packs in and clean it. So just want
Gotcha.
to make sure we note that.
Okay. All right. So we looked at a little bit of, you know, setup of the camera, the individual imagers, the desiccant bags, the mounts, and how easy it is. Now we're going to do one other thing. We're going to go in, and Brad's going to show us some setup and actually do a demo with the cameras.
So Joe, we got our hands on the FLEXIDOME Multi 7000 series, and we went through the whole unboxing of the camera to see everything that was in the packaging and what the unboxing process looks like. Next step, obviously, is to see what the camera looks like. Can you give us a little detail on what we're out here doing today?
Sure. So we're at the Chesapeake parking lot for more realistic use of the camera, and we're going to be walking around the parking lot just to show each view of the camera and what that looks like in BVMS.
All right. Okay, so what we have now is we've brought the camera into BVMS, and what we're going to display for you is what the imaging looks like as we populate the 4 available imagers into the scene. And what we have also is Joe walking around the perimeter of the camera to show a capture between all imagers. Something to point out is, as most customers are used to seeing or expecting from Bosch, is the image quality of these imagers. And this goes into detail as far as everything you would expect from a Bosch camera, from bit rate, optimization, and dynamic noise reduction. This camera has all those same features built in. You can also see that we're tracking Joe throughout each imager as he passes through the field of view of each one. If you have any questions on this camera, please feel free to reach out to us. Send us an email at support@midchest.com.